Right guys, I've left Ypres behind. In fact, I've left Belgium behind. I'm now in Holland. The Netherlands, I should say. I came up round via Antwerp, which is an absolute nightmare traffic-wise, but I'm here and in one piece, that's all that matters. So I'm in 's-Hertogenbosch, which is commonly known locally as Den Bosch, and that's what I'll be sticking to because it's a lot easier to say. So I'm on the camper spot, which I'll just show you. It's probably one of the biggest ones I've ever been to be honest. There's a very modern electrical supply, but you have to prepay and guesstimate the amount of electricity you're going to use, or keep running backwards and forwards topping up. I also suspect they will benefit from little bits off everyone that doesn't get used. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So it's €19.50 a night, which makes it the most expensive one I've been on. However, the little wooden hut contains toilets and showers. The showers are very hot, which is extremely good at this time of year. And even the sinks for washing up have got hot water in them. So it's very well appointed. It's very quiet, given we're in the centre of town. The town centre is probably a 25-minute walk that away. But last night, total silence. It was really very pleasant place. So I'm here tonight. And then, as I failed to mention in the last couple of videos, I keep saying I'm going to let you know the plan. So the plan. I'm meandering my way up to Amsterdam slowly, bit by bit, zigzagging my way across. Where I'm going to meet Elizabeth because there is a large Vermeer exhibition taking place at the Rijksmuseum, which she wants to see. Well, I want to see as well. So that's why I managed to combine the retro as well. It was two birds, one stone. So anyway, let's go and see what we can find in Den Bosch. Like so many places in the Netherlands, Den Bosch, which I haven't been to before, so I'm looking forward to this, is surrounded by water. Now, I've come from the station and the camper van site, which is up there, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes walk. And so far I've not seen anything very old. So I hope I haven't made a mistake. But anyway, no doubt the day will unfold as it does and I will find out more. But I'm following a sign towards something I think might be interesting, so we'll see what we can see. I've come to see this, which is a small star-shaped fort. So I'm assuming 18th century originally. It looks to have been heavily changed since then. I'll see if I can get in. Which protected the town. The main waterway coming into town comes down there and then goes off that way into town and then along there and round the other side of town. So this would have been built to protect the town from unwanted movement by water. There are some star-shaped forts elsewhere in this area. There's a famous one up north near Amsterdam, which I think is called Naarden. I may be wrong, I think it's called Naarden, which was the site of an infamous massacre in the wars where the Netherlands were trying to liberate themselves from the Spanish rule. I'm not going to be able to go to that one this holiday. It's a shame because it's a cracker, but let's go and have a look and see if I can find out any more info on this fort. Oh, and I don't imagine I'll be able to see it in the distance, but there's a blue swing bridge, typically Dutch, and smack bang in the middle of it at the minute is an American 1970s car, which I don't recognise. Right, star-shaped fort, as I said, built in the well, appears to be the late 1700s. I believe the star shape was a French design, might be Vauban, not sure. And the idea was you could defend against anyone approaching the walls and catch them in the crossfire. It is actually a museum now, but you can just come in and walk around the walls, which is what I'm going to do. A couple of old cannons still up on the ramparts. Not as old as it looked though. Louis 1819 is, that's a Flemish for Liège. So post-Napoleonic. They look older. and that's what they look out on. Well, it wouldn't be hard to guess what part of the world you're in, would it really? Very charming. I'm just going to follow this canal in, which hopefully will take me to the old centre. Although I must say it's pretty cold today, and it's going to get colder, and it's really not doing my batteries much good. They're dropping fast. Only a few metres, 30 metres at most, off the main drag in from the station, and you end up in a warren of little old streets, probably 17th century onwards. Very attractive. The inner canal, and there are boat tours apparently in the summer, runs under loads of houses that have been built over it. It is unusual. I've passed about a dozen so far like this. Once again, we've got a classic two-wheeler as a piece of window art. It's not even a shop, it's just an empty building with this sat in the window. A Vespa small frame 50cc. You could actually buy them in the UK with pedals back in the 70s when the 50cc sports moped type law was around. And then there's a few bits of random automobilia stuck in the corner. Very strange. Right, I actually came to Den Bosch to come in here, which I thought looks like a church, which of course it once was. It is now the Hieronymus Bosch Art Centre, because Hieronymus, who's known for his rather peculiar medieval paintings of people doing unusual things and of immense interest, is shut despite having said it was open on the website before I left the UK. So, minor irritation. Right, the centre I suppose is here, where this huge Gothic pile, which towers over everything around it. Again, scale is hard to judge with an action cam, but once again it's massive. I should go and have a look inside. There is a central market square as well, which I can't film in because the market's on. It's Saturday morning, it's incredibly busy, and all you'd see is lots of tarpaulins flapping about. So we'll have to limit ourselves to this place. I tried to get in and a service has just started, which is going on for an hour. I had a quick look from the back, just usual sort of stuff, so I'll just have to make the most of admiring it from the outside. The town hall's a fairly plain building, considering lots of others we've seen, but it actually dates back to 1679, and it overlooks the market square, which, as I said previously, is filled at the minute with loads of people doing their shopping. It's a very busy place, Den Bosch. Seems very prosperous. Loads of cafes, are well filled. Nice place. The town hall is wonderful frontage. Hard to date, probably more Art Nouveau than Deco, I think. So early 1900s. Fabulous building, all done in coloured brick to give that effect. Stunning. Right, I've come a little bit further north to a small town of Gorinchem, which I've never been to before. I've driven past it on the way to Amsterdam many times on the motorway, but never called in. And I've just walked round the river where the van is parked, which I'll show you shortly, and came across these two stone statues, which didn't look very Dutch to me. And it's a little placard which says that these Dol Harabang stone statues were set up in front of fortress gates, and this is one of the gates into the old town, in Korea. And in 1653 a Dutchman called Hendrik Hamel and some fellow seafarers were shipwrecked off the coast of Korea, Segwipo, and there have been contacts ever since with the residents of that city and Gorinchem, and these stones were presented by the Koreans to the town in 2015. So now on the other side of the wall I was talking at, and This is what would essentially be the town port coming in off the river. There's a steam-powered boat straight in front of us, the red flash on the bow pointing towards us. And then there's another set of gates behind this building, which then leads into the canal system, which, like so many places in Holland, ring the town. The town itself is brick-built buildings, tall, narrow, usual stuff. Large church in the centre, which we'll see later. But again, like the rest of Holland, it is water orientated, so we're going to walk around the other side first. The river's very wide and a bit hazy this morning. It was very cold last night. The temperature is plummeting. It's meant to be -6 tonight, so it's going to be cold. Now the river's navigable, and I was told by somebody on the camper spot that you see large boats, because if to our left as we look is Rotterdam, and then to the right you're into central Holland, and I assume there must be connections then into Germany, because it won't be that far from the German border. Yeah, it looks like it's a local ferry, so there must be a ferry service across the river. And then in the background, one of the larger barges I was told about that I'd see as I walked around. Right, I've been walking along an elevated section which I took to be a dike to protect the town from the river, but I was wrong. Straight in front of us, which we're going to go have a look at in a minute, is the old port gate that led out to the river. And then to our right, behind those trees, there are some guns, some cannon, and a windmill, which we're also going to walk around and have a look at in a minute. So what I took to be a dike is actually part of a star-shaped fort again, like the one we saw in Den Bosch, except this time the whole of the old town is inside the fort. So the whole town is one fortified enclosure in a star formation. Right, the inside of the gatehouse features double doors, which are canal gate doors, and then there are double slots here where there's this trough, which presumably they've put planks in and then filled in case of flood. I can't see it being defensive, but you never know. And then out on the cobbles down to the river. It's a lovely place, helped by the wonderful weather I'm having. For February, early February, it's absolutely beautiful. So the cannon are too corroded to tell if they ever had a casting date. They are quite badly pockmarked. But they're on wooden swivels, which gives you probably about a 60-degree arc, and then also mounted on recoil ramps. So as they discharged, it would roll back up the ramp and then back into place again to give you some sort of relief from the recoil of firing them. Interesting. And then the rather impressive windmill from 1764. Closed, but very impressive nonetheless. The Dutch have a very good sense of humour. Slightly wacky, but very good nonetheless. So rather than just stick up a sign saying please clear up after your dog, we have this little statue of a man picking dog mess out of his boots with a stick, and he's surrounded by little piles of dog poo. Very witty, makes the point very well. So I'm halfway round my circumnavigation of the town on the ramparts, because that's the canal we first saw that ran up the side of the main town. And on this side it's full of Dutch barges, which are magnificent. I'm assuming people live on them because they're moored up to permanent looking quays. Then across the way there's another windmill and more guns, and that's where we're heading, around that way. Right, I'm back at the port where I started my walk round. It's taken about an hour to go around the ramparts. Very pleasant too. The sun has got some warmth in it now, which is very welcome. So we'll head into town and see what there is there. I know there's a large church in the middle. I don't think there's much else. The church in the centre of town is this old tower. Which is leaning quite noticeably to the right. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but it's a fair old lean. And this is from about 1470 or so, so pretty old. But then whatever is attached to is obviously long gone, because the rest of the church on the side going backwards is modern brick. So there's only the old tower that remains. Well, it was cold last night. We had a hard frost and then freezing fog early in the morning. This is the port section of Gorinchem. There was a very large barge moored up here last night after dark, which set off this morning about 7 o'clock. And this is where the campsite, well, this is where the camper stop is, I should say, because it's only for camper vans, which is just through here. Has all the facilities you need. There's an electrical hookup, of course, and then down there's a cafe with heated toilets and showers, which is very handy. They close when the cafe closes, but you're given a code to let yourself in at night. This is the camper stop. 5 of us in, 6 of us in fact. There's the van in the corner. So as you can see, very scenic. And then immediately behind this bank here, and it is immediately behind this bank because we're on a very thin spit of land right at the edge of the harbour, is the river. You might just hear a barge in the background. So a chilly night. I had to crawl out from under the duvet and hit the heater first thing this morning when I got up, because it was pretty cold. But another beautiful day. I've moved on again, and I'm now at Haastrecht, which is a small village just outside Gouda, or Gouda, depending how you want to pronounce it. It's on a farm. That's the farm next door, which has got horses and certainly one donkey, because I heard it last night, and some cockerels. This farm I'm on is a dairy farm. The small building there are the toilets and showers, but they're shut at the minute because of the winter. But there's a heated toilet, shower, etc. in the dairy building itself, which you can use, which is very handy. There's one other vehicle here, but there doesn't seem to be anyone in it. You can probably tell by the grass. It was pretty oh, hares. There's hares running down the field next door. 4 hares running, gone mad. Anyway, after that momentary excitement, the irrigation canals are all frozen because it was bitterly cold last night. I mean, really proper cold. But, you know, what do you expect when you're travelling in February in Northern Europe? But it's a beautiful spot, just surrounded by fields as far as I can see. If you walk through the fields that way for, I don't know, 20 miles or so, you come to the Hague and the coast. So there you go, perfectly good little stopover. And the reason I've chosen this one is I'm going up to Amsterdam, where I will meet Elizabeth, because we're going to Vermeer exhibition, which is on at the Rijksmuseum. So the van will stay here for a few days on its own, There's a bus that runs from the village, 10-minute walk into the village, and there's a bus from the village, which is a 13-minute bus ride into Howder, and a train from there to Amsterdam takes 50 minutes. So this is safe and convenient. There is a campsite nearer, but it costs a lot more money, and to be honest, I'd rather have the van here unattended on a quiet farm in the countryside. So there you go, that's the plan. Oh, and keep warm, that's the other plan.